Hey, in this video we're going to be talking a little bit about the swing plane, why it's important, and what will happen to your shots when you stray too far from it. We're also going to be talking about how you can practice and the drills you can do at home to get the feels for being more on plane. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. I continue to heal from my eye surgery, but hopefully you will still like and subscribe if you like the content. Okay, so I'm going to show you a video here that was sent to me by a student of mine for analysis. And if you would like to get your swing analyzed, I'm going to leave a link to that down below. But this is John's swing. John has a really good swing for a driver, but you can see he's really on the shallow and inside shape, looking like this quite a bit. And so, well, I would kind of recommend this swing for a driver if you're not a long hitter, because it can produce a nice upstrike and a lot of height and some hook and get a lot of distance out of it. But unfortunately, when you stray too far out of balance with your swing plane being way too far inside and way underneath, let's say the perfect swing plane, you start to really have issues with your low point control and your face control. So the more inside out that you swing, generally, the earlier you're going to strike the earth or reach your low point. And once that starts to be behind the ball, obviously you're going to have problems not only chunking it, but most athletic golfers, they'll find a way around chunking it. Instead, they'll start to skim the turf lightly and they'll start to thin shots instead. So fat shots, thin shots. Then the path and the face are a little too far off to consistently control, especially if you're a longer hitter. Even if you're 240 or more, your path starts to get excessively from the inside and you're going to have a difficulty timing the face from day to day because it's revolving so rapidly through the impact zone. It would look like this coming through, and so you'll get pushes and sometimes duck hooks or smother hooks out of this pattern. So here we're going to do a couple of exercises to get the feels, even at home, out in your backyard or even in your living room. If you have a couple of simple items here I've got just a dining room chair. You could use a patio chair as well. And for this first one, you don't really need a club at all. What I'm going to do is take a golf stance here and use the chair kind of as my rail. Now, you see in the video of John, and this is typical of for a lot of people who are way under the plane, going too much into out, where you look like this. You turn a little too horizontal, and then under you go this way while your butt leaves the wall. So it would be setting yourself up with too flat of a shoulder and hip turn. And the natural way to respond to that is to go this way. It's very rare and very difficult to go this way and then try to recover from there. It can be done if it's in small increments. There's a lot of golfers in the Hall of Fame that went just a little bit too flat and then recovered on the way down by kind of reversing the pattern. You'll see, even Hogan had some of this. Snead had it. I just watched a video of Jackie Burke. Beautiful inside over the top swing. But in this case, we're talking about a swing that is here and then drops under even more on the downswing like this. And so the first drill you would do here, using the chair behind you, you can pretend that your arms are the wings of an airplane. And I want you to just turn up a little more up and down like this. Your hips will do more tilting and less turning. You're not curtailing your turn, you're just turning on a steeper axis, a more vertical axis. So here's the plane turning a little more steeply this way. And you'll notice your hips, right hip will get high and your left hip and butt cheek will not leave the chair by so much. It'll stay closer to home at the chair. We'll get this. Now from here it becomes very easy to stick the left butt cheek back against the chair, slide, and lift the chair off the ground. So that would be the first exercise, just to get a feel for a little bit different shape to your pivot. You'd go steep airplane, slide and lift the chair off the ground like that. Okay, now you can blend the feels from the first drill. You can kind of tack on to it. I've got, you can see a couple of alignment sticks just point down into the turf here, and I've just got the noodles on them to make them look a little bit easier for you to see. I've got them tilted at about 60 degrees, so about 30 degrees on an incline, which is, this is a 9-iron. This would be swinging, approximately 60 degrees or so in a good on-plane swing, give or take a couple degrees. But we're going to use the feels from the first drill and turning a little steeper, and I'll show you. It would be very easy if you were to turn flat to swing right into this guy, or even inside it, even worse. But you can see we're in a little bit of a trouble here. We're so far on the inside, we're either going to come back on the inside, or going to have to figure some way to do the inside over the top loop, which doesn't ideally involve just lifting the arms like this, but instead it would be putting the shoulders back into position again that they probably should have been on the backswing anyway. So this one will control the club from going too far inside. This forward one is going to control the club from going too far outside in the follow through. So you're just going to make very slow, simple swings, and you're just trying to turn up steep enough. You see, that's a lot straighter takeaway there, isn't it? So because I'm winding up the shoulders steeper, keeping the club a little more straight, go about halfway back, and now start executing your downswing pivot. Back to the chair down. You're going to try to swing leftwards. Leftwards of the forward one. And what you'll get is you'll get a little bit of an outside in swing if you set the noodles up really well. But that's kind of the way you'd like to feel. You might want to feel some correct, but you probably also want to feel some that have a little bit of an overdue. So here, now keep it on top of this noodle coming down, and then left of this noodle on the way through. You're just trying to build the feels with these drills. Drill the feels of a slightly different framework for your golf swing. Don't get carried away in trying to make this exact swing when you go to the driving range. This might be so different that it's difficult to pull off exactly like this. You might drive yourself nuts. So just try to retain some of these feels. Don't expect to run off and hit drivers and 3-woods as hard as you can with something completely different. That usually doesn't work that way. Usually we got to work for a little while without a ball just to get the framework, and then slowly with a ball and build your way up, short iron, and then on and on and on. That's the correct way of building new feels and movements into a golf swing. I'm doing them simply out here in the yard with a kitchen chair or a dining room chair and a couple of sticks. Very cheap and easy to set up this drill. So this drill would not allow you to go under the plane. It will not allow you to get stuck. Look where this club has to now fall, because I am building on the feels I had in the first drill, not turning flat, but turning a little steeper and tilting. The club will very naturally now want to fall back in front and work its way around the arc, which is what we really need this end of the stick to do if we're going to have master control over the face angle of the club. Now, if you're an over-the-top slicer who's coming more outside to in, Well, you could just reverse everything. You would practice swinging inside this noodle again, and outside this noodle. And this would be your feels. If you're over the top and too vertical, you would just reverse everything and give some feels for maybe coming from the inside and drawing the ball. Take that to the range. Remember the last point here, and this is one of John's big issues that he has told me, is he has a hard time locating his low point, especially on the longer clubs like a fairway wood or a hybrid, which he has to hit often because he's not a long hitter. The more inside out you swing, generally the earlier the divot is, or the earlier the low point will fall. And the more steep and over the top the swing is, it makes it a lot easier to hit a divot in front. Most people who come over the top and left don't usually have much of an issue with chunking or thinning shots. If your swing stays reasonably on the plane that we're after, this way, you'll find that your divot is going to be nicely located just in front of the ball. But just in case it's not, and you're still having issues with low point control and maybe chunking it, you got to keep in mind in drill number 1, what we talked about is the lateral slide to set up the downswing. And this is really how the downswing starts. And all good players, this is the first move starting down. So here we go with our airplane again, airplane. Now I'm kind of wound up into the right edge of the chair here. I'm going to return the left cheek to the wall as I'm sliding to the left side of the chair. There's got to be, 5 or 6 inches of lateral slide. That's what the chair makes you feel so easily. Return the left butt cheek and slide. Lift the chair if you can. Lift the chair off the ground a little if you can. If not, just use it as a gliding rail to glide on. But you're going to have to glide targetwards with your left hip and butt cheek about 5 or 6 inches if you're going to have success locating your low point in front. So just one more time. We go back, tilting the airplane. Okay. Now, execute the downswing pivot, sliding, swinging back around to the left. Slowly first. You can add some kind of dynamic tempo to this a little after you've gotten the gist of it. And you're just trying to bank that in your mind, those feels that you can take out to the driving range. Hit some soft golf balls, work your way up. Give it a little time. Let those feels start to seep into your golf course swing a little bit later on. Hey, hopefully this really helps John. I'm hoping this is such a simple setup that you, even though you may not have a lot of time to practice, will be able to use this to get yourself a little bit more on the plane as well, whichever side of the noodles you have to go on. I hope you have great success. I'm Steve. Thanks a lot for watching. Head over to my website, hititlonger.com. Don't forget to check out the link to getting your swing analyzed. And if I don't see you in the next video, I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.